Welcome, everyone. Welcome to tonight's edition of Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
Hello, everybody.
Well, of late, we've started doing a little bit of a series, kind of accidentally. And so tonight we're going to talk about the third chakra and what are sort of signs and symptoms of a blocked third chakra. Before we get into that, I should introduce the show. Unlocking Your Tooth is...
Good one.
Unlocking Your Tooth is all about dentistry. Unlocking Your Truth is a talk show about metaphysics and spirituality. And every week we have a different topic about metaphysics and spirituality. We're a podcast and we're a radio show, and the radio show broadcasts on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley. From the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation, the podcast is on all the major podcasting platforms and also on my website, drlesliephillips.com. Now, the show airs on a Tuesday from 7 to 8 Pacific time, and we pre-record the show as well in the same time slot the week before. And there is a way, if you enjoy the show, that you can participate live. And there are two ways that you can do that. One is to go to my Dr. Leslie Phillips YouTube channel and be there in that 7 to 8 o'clock Pacific time slot on a Tuesday. The other is to join the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group.
Brian says, how do you unlock a tooth? Now you've got me curious.
I think with some of these modern dental implants, there's probably a way. All right, so we're talking about the third chakra today. And the third chakra is called the solar plexus as well. And it's situated sort of above your belly button area. And, you know, I think we all know where it is. You know, it's when you get, if someone punches you in the gut, it's right there in the solar plexus. Not that I've ever been punched in the gut, so I don't know why I'm using that as an example. But yeah,
okay.
So this energy center relates to energy distribution. So it assists in the distribution of life force energies throughout the system. And it not just of the physical body, but also of the astral body, and how you're focusing your attention within and between those two vehicles. So it relates to energy distribution, out-of-body experience, out-of-body memory, and we could also say things like astral travel or lucid dreaming is all governed by this energy center. So I think I might just read a little bit of my Intuition and Chakras book just to get, because there's really good descriptions of all the chakras and what they're about. So, and because we're focusing in the show about what might be a block relating to it, that's where I'll start. So we think about the third chakra, think it's your power center. When you've got that center open, you're in your power. When you've got that center closed down, you're not in your power, you're probably in a state of fear. So if you've ever had that feeling where you're really, really afraid, one of the things that happens to you is that third chakra closes down. So if you think about a time when you were afraid, what that feels like, that's one of the things that happen is you feel it in that area of your gut. So true power is really about you owning, balancing, and channeling your energy to consciously create your life Unfortunately, many individuals misuse their energy to exert authority over others because there's a misunderstanding about power and what power is on this planet, isn't there?
Definitely.
Yeah. So people believe they have to compete to be successful, that there's a hierarchy. And this plays out at home, at work, and, you know, at play, that, you know, there's only room for a top dog, one top dog. We can't peacefully co-create and recognize the power within each human. But, you know, one day when humanity has evolved, then that might be what it's like, is that we all are able to be in balance in our own power and recognize what's unique and powerful about our fellow humans and be accepting and allowing of that. So you own your power when you live life authentically. This requires enough self-knowledge to choose what you believe over what others say, and to support yourself regardless of other people's projections that would have you behave differently. You know, it's interesting. I have a client at the moment, and I was working with her this morning, and that's what she was dealing with, like a tremendous amount of projections of other people about who they want her to be or who they believe that she is, interfering with her ability to step into her power and assert who she really is. So if your third chakra is balanced, you know what you want and you ask for it. You know you deserve to be treated respectfully and have boundaries. When others behave badly, you're unaffected and can detach or walk away. By consciously remaining in your body and controlling your energy, you become more effective, and you can turn your energy up or down and direct it where you like, such as your intuitive senses. So that's a little bit from my book, and I might read a little bit more in a moment. But so we're talking about the third chakra, and what are the signs that your third chakra might be out of balance? Well, let's talk about some things that show up in people's everyday lives, and then let's talk about some ways you might be feeling that might be a sign of it. So basically, your life is out of balance in some way. So it could be manifesting issues at work, issues at home, problems with authority. So issues where you've got one person or group pitched against another, where there's a level of competition, or there's a level of expectations, or there's a level of judgment, or there's a power play or a power struggle, an attempt of one to assert control and dominion over another, keep another person in their place. Those types of things can relate to the third chakra. And so one of the power plays is to invalidate somebody, you know, to make them feel not good enough, or make them believe that they're not good enough. To expect too much of someone, or to expect too little of someone. So if you feel like people are always in competition with me, or people don't believe in me and don't expect very much from me, or people expect too much from me, or if you have problems with authority, if you've always had struggle getting along with your boss, and it could show up as you diminishing yourself. So the client that I was talking about that I was working with today would diminish herself. And when you think about it, it's like with, if you think about dogs or wolves, pack animals, where you do have that alpha dog, and the other ones sort of, you know, they diminish themselves, don't they? They bow down to the alpha dog. So the human behavior can be very similar, that we diminish ourselves in order to stay safe, because we're frightened that this person will overpower us in some way. So we diminish ourselves, and we may even talk them up, to make them feel better about themselves. So there's a kind of a power structure that gets set up between people. And both people in that scenario have an imbalance in their third chakra, because neither of them is validating themselves and neither of them is validating the other person. Why? Well, if you believe you're better than other people, you are invalidating them, but you're also not seeing yourself very clearly. And if you believe that you're worse than everyone else, it's the same thing. You're not seeing yourself or them very clearly, because we're unique. We all have unique energy. We're unique aspects of divine consciousness. We all have a unique life purpose, a unique life plan, a unique pathway that we journey through our life, through our chakra system. And so we're all completely different. It makes absolutely no sense to compare one against another or pitch one against another. So when we do that, we are out of balance. We're not seeing the truth of things. We're not seeing the truth of another person. So what are some of the feelings of being out of balance in your third chakra? Not good enough, unworthy, low self-esteem, in a state of anxiety, in a state of fear, misusing your energy. So it could be the opposite of that diminishment, couldn't it? It could be using your energy to overpower others. And competition issues, which I've mentioned. Here's another one, just being very concerned about your status and your rank and how you match up against within society, within the culture, within any group that you belong to.
That's a big one.
Yeah, it is a big one, isn't it? Yeah.
I think everybody suffers from that to some degree.
Yeah. On the one hand, there's a kind of tribal behavior where we want to fit in with the group, but also where we want to be the top dog in the group. So you'll try to match the others or be the best one. So if you have a group of women or a group of guys, right, it's the women, maybe they try to be the prettiest or the sexiest or the cleverest, I suppose. And the men, maybe they, want to be the, I don't know, the brawniest or the brainiest. So yeah, where, being concerned with your status. And of course, all of this denotes a kind of disconnection with divine source energy, doesn't it? We're obviously not in touch with God, not in touch with who we are really as an aspect of God. So these are like lessons in power, control, being in balance. So I suppose, I didn't really talk on a physical level there, did I? But on a physical level, if you are exhausted, you're tired, I don't have the energy, I don't have enough energy, my get up and go got up and went, I'm fatigued, they can be relating to your energy distribution, and they can be relating to your digestive system, which is how we assimilate fuel in order to energize the body. And there are a lot of different organs associated with the digestive system, aren't there? And so if you've got somebody with some kind of digestive problem, then it's relevant to look at the idea of what's going on with the third chakra. So I wanted to read another little excerpt. So this is from my book. Let's take a look at how you use your energy and where you have tied your energy up. If you feel in alignment and use your energy to stay on track and fulfill your purpose, then you're using your energy wisely. You're focusing your life force energy units as was intended to create your own reality from free will in your unique way. Because there's no one else like you. And when you bring your unique vibration into the world, the heart of humanity rejoices because we get to experience the gift of you. But if you are a victim, I didn't use that word before, did I? But it's relevant. If you're a victim, intimidated by emotional assaults, dwelling on past hurts, afraid to stand up for your beliefs, don't trust yourself to make good decisions, uncertain about your wants, feel manipulated, feel used, feel like you're being ignored, then you're not owning your power, and nor are you using your energy for your unique purpose. Instead, you're letting yourself be waylaid by invalidation, expectations, and limiting beliefs. If you feel like a child being talked down to and told what to do, if you complain but don't change anything, if you're a bully imposing your will on others, or if you try to force change by competing with family, friends, or colleagues, then you're still tying up your energy inappropriately. It doesn't pay to keep everyone else happy at your own expense. If you're ignoring issues you care about because you don't think you can change them, or doing what others want to avoid rocking the boat, think again. This is not a recipe for empowerment or a purpose-filled life. So right there was a whole condensed list of how you can be out of balance in your third chakra. So let's go to a break. And when we come back, let's talk about the other aspect, which is the out-of-body experience aspect of the third chakra.
Yeah, I'll put a note down. I just wanted to mention something before I forget, and that's for the next 3 weeks. We won't be recording until the 24th of October. Dr. Leslie will be traveling, so we'll see you on the 24th. Just make note. I'll send out an email anyway, so you'll all have that.
Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, to Unlocking Your Truth. Tonight's show, we're talking about the third chakra, and we've sort of got into a bit of a series where we're talking about how do you know if your chakra is out of balance. So in the first part of the show, we talked about the energy distribution aspect of the third chakra, because one of the things that the third chakra is responsible for is the distribution of vital energy into your physical and astral bodies to support you in your life experiences. It's also very much the center that relates to out-of-body experience and out-of-body memory. So we have different words for this, and they're not all exactly the same. So let's go through them a little bit. So we say out-of-body experience, don't we? We say yes. Astral travel, we say lucid dreaming. Are they all the same thing? Not necessarily. You can be out of your body, not in any body. So a spirit, you can be in your physical body. A spirit, you can be in your astral body. A spirit, you can be in your light body. A spirit, you can be in all of those bodies. If you're a master of energy, you can operate those bodies simultaneously. But you can also exist apart from any body as that divine spiritual spark that you are. So when we talk about astral travel, we're talking about using another vessel, another vehicle called the astral body, which we use when we are exploring the astral realm, which is a realm of sort of human mass consciousness that is closely associated with the earth plane. We can travel beyond that realm in the light body for like inter and higher dimensional travel. And we can travel just as pure spirit as well. So these are all different ways of out-of-body experience. And of course, remembering that you were dreaming is a sign that you were having an out-of-body experience. And becoming awake within a dream, which is what we call lucid dreaming, is also a sign that you are having out-of-body experiences. The out-of-body realm is infinite, and the in-body realm is finite. So that means that you can't possibly remember everything that you experience outside of the body when you're in the body. And so that's why we've got this thing called out-of-body memory, which is also an aspect of the third chakra. That helps you recall dreams and have conscious shamanic journeys or astral adventures, and be able to recall and assimilate and integrate the information into your physical body. So what might that aspect be like in an out of balance way? And what might that aspect be like in an imbalanced kind of way? So perhaps a person is detached from their body. I met somebody once where they were just in their astral body floating around like a kite. Right? So, I mean, I guess in a way it's a choice of where to distribute your energy, but it's not going to help you create much in earth plane reality. So that could be one example. And another example might be that you are bringing inappropriate things into the third chakra from your out-of-body experiences that leave you feeling out of sorts. So if you've ever had that experience where you wake up from a disturbing dream, or you're having trouble sleeping because you're constantly, having issues and challenges when you're sleeping. So those kinds of things could be an example of an imbalance in your third chakra. Possibly somebody who is spontaneously leaving the body. So I've never really looked at this, but there are people who have, I can't remember the name of it, you know, where they just instantly go asleep. I can't think of the name of that disease.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I can't think of the name of it, but they're sort of instantly leaving their body. And some people have sort of this idea of food allergies, things that they can't digest that throw them out.
narcolepsy. Sorry.
Pardon? Narcolepsy.
Narcolepsy.
Yeah, narcolepsy. So things to do potentially with, like, you know, sleep disturbances and being overwhelmed by experiences that you've had in the out-of-body state that make no sense. So for example, let's say you see spiders in your dreams, and those spiders follow you around while you're awake. that could relate to this energy center. You know, or you just overwhelm your system by bringing in too much from the outer body state and not processing it. So those would be, you know, some of the examples of that. So I wonder if anyone has any questions or any things that they'd like to share about their own experiences, now having heard a little bit about what the third chakra is to do with.
It's a lot of, it's quite a powerful energy center. I mean, it covers a real variation of things, you know, like in our lives, and some heavy duty ones, you know, like that competition. I think most people suffer from some form of competition. One, you know, whether at work or in a family, it's heavy duty.
Yeah, most. I mean, who do we know that really owns their power completely in a balanced way?
Exactly.
Jesus, the Buddha.
Yeah. Masters.
Yeah, the spiritual masters, because the spiritual masters are masters of energy balancing. And this energy center is all about balancing energy. It distributes the energy through your entire system. So it helps you navigate, like I said, physical reality in the physical system, but also aspects of the non-physical as it relates to you, this human aspect that you are. So yeah, it's the ability to focus your energy in order to create the reality that you want.
And is that are those issues, you know, in some of the chakras, it's a balancing issue. Sometimes it's a cleansing issue. What's the I guess the main negative that affects the third chakra? Is it cleansing, balancing, out of sequence?
So, I mean, you're asking a linear question about a multidimensional thing, but I think, you know, a couple of things. One is, you know, fear. When we're in fear, we lose our power completely.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing on this planet, fear. And fear is what keeps us stuck. It what keeps us trapped in a low consciousness. It what keeps us trapped in a low vibration. Fear is the major thing that humanity has to transcend in order to evolve to a planet that's not operating from the consciousness of war, the consciousness of, you know, greed, fear and greed. So I think fear and, you know, and that pivoting between the polarity of wanting to dominate or being a victim. And so it's all equally about balancing your chakras and cleansing and clearing your chakras. But I guess I would start with, you know, clearing the chakras and releasing out of alignment energies. So in the third chakra, any of these things that we've talked about is an out of alignment energy. So if you wake up from a dream and you feel out of sorts because terrible things happened in your dream and you clear out your third chakra, you'll feel better. If you feel afraid and you open up your third chakra, you'll feel better. And, you know, and then all of the chakras can be out of balance in terms of one polarity or another, or even in terms of past and future. And on both of those, we can bring them into balance. We can bring the chakras into present time, and we can bring the chakras into the balance point between the polarities. So we live in this reality that is duality based, that is polarity based, and that's what we've been operating from for thousands and thousands of years. But there's future potential for us to operate from a different paradigm, which is the paradigm of being in balance. And that's what all of the masters taught us. They demonstrated how to be in balance within themselves, within their own energy, how to be the master of their own energy, and therefore the master of their as within, so without.
So if your third chakra is open too much, could you have no, how do I put this? Like if it's not open enough, then you're living in a state of fear. But if it's too open, could fear not affect you at all? Could it be? Could that be a negative experience in life, to not be afraid?
Yeah, and again, we're looking at this linear. So you know, all your chakras are moving in and out of balance all the time, opening wider, you know, being more or less open all the time in response to what you're going through. Let me look at that question. Give me a second.
So a healthy,
Yeah, give me a second just to get an answer to that question. Well, you can have your chakra more open and be owning your energy, or I guess you could be running someone else's energy through your system, and that is an out of balance state. And obviously we've been talking about individual chakras as though they're an island, but they're not. They're part of a system, an energy system. And so it's also how everything is functioning together as a whole. Did anybody write a question?
Yes, we have some questions for you,
That's
Dr.
great.
Leslie.
Yeah.
This is from Brian. Brian says, is there like a collective consciousness experience for the third chakra being blocked? Like you described competition and struggle between two people. But what about groups like how we see on the political field, for example, pitting one group against another, where whole groups are being involved and invalidated? How does that work? Oh, good question.
Yeah, you're right. It's like a mass consciousness work. So what tends to happen with humans when they belong to a group and they don't have the sort of confidence to be their individuated self is that they say they get their identity from the group. And the group is a kind of merged, blended energy where everyone has agreed to believe the same thing, think the same thoughts, adopt the same behaviors, maybe even wear the same outfit. And that's a form of human behavior that people have done to be safe. You know, if you're part of a group of people and you're not out in the cold on your own, then, you know, there's safety. But the what you might be giving up in order to belong to the group, if you're matching the group's energy, is you're giving up your individuality. And so, yes, you've got these collectives or groups who are behaving in an out of alignment fashion. And from a polarized perspective, where I'm right and you're wrong, which makes it very hard to find the balance point in the middle. And yes, you can have whole groups of people who feel invalidated and whole groups of people who feel entitled. And it's very easy to look around the world and find those groups. You can find groups of people who have been historically enslaved, or, gosh, I can't think of the word, what they've done to a lot of the indigenous groups on the planet. They've come in and colonized their country, and there's a word for it. I can't think of what the word is, but those groups of people can carry a victim energy, an unworthy energy, a feeling invalidated energy. And if you can find groups who are like the victors of war, that feel righteous, and so yeah, Brian, we have these unhealthy collectives, and it's so interesting. I'm glad you asked that question. It's so interesting to look at it that way, because on the one hand, we need to know ourselves. Who am I as an individual? How am I as an individuated spark of divine consciousness? And we each came here to authentically express that in the world. And so the safety of the group can prevent us from doing that. Meanwhile, there is a state of more evolved consciousness where we belong to a collective. But in those kind of collectives, there's harmony within the group, where there's overlapping ideas, but each member of the group is recognized for their contribution to the whole. So nobody's being diminished, disempowered. And the group is not collectively together based on disempowerment or fighting against something, but is collectively together because they are wanting to co-create something wonderful together. All right, we have to go to another break.
Yes.
We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back, everyone. We've been talking about the third chakra, having an interesting conversation, and I think there may be some more questions.
Oh, there's lots. By the way, Katie said one of the words you were looking for probably was assimilate.
I think that's the word of what happens to them after the word that I was trying to think of. But thank you. Maybe I'll think of it by the end of the show.
I can look it up for you. This is from Susan. Susan says, while meditating the other day, I asked my higher self, why is it so hard to get my life together the way I know I deserve? And it was exciting to finally understand why things don't always go well. The answer I got was because I have been navigating everything through fear. So now I have to try and not feel that fear, but it's easier said than done.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Susan, because that's right on point of what we've been talking about. That if you are in fear, you're creating your reality through fear. And you will create more fear and more situations that put you in fear, because we are magnetic. We're electromagnetic energy. So depending on how you're setting your energy field up, you're magnetizing that which you are. You're attracting that which you are. So if you haven't already, download the free meditation on my website and use the techniques in the free meditation to help release fear. And remember what I said. So when you're afraid, a few things happen. You lose your grounding, you close your third chakra, you open your crown chakra, your energy goes out everywhere into everyone else's space. So I have a great course called Unlock Your Intuition, which teaches you how to be in command of your energy. Because once you know those things, then if you go into fear or you say, okay, I need to ground. Okay, I need to center so I can be neutral about what's happening. Okay, I need to open my third chakra so I can be in my power. Okay, I need to narrow my crown chakra so that I can connect with my higher being and my God. And I need to pull my energy field in so that I am not infecting everyone else with my fear. Because fear, you know, laughter is infectious, but fear is infectious as well. And we don't want to be a reservoir of fear for everyone, do we? You don't want to be spreading, because what what you are is what you're giving to the world. It's what you're giving to the rest of humanity. You know, that fear that you are harboring is your gift. And so, you know, give the gift of love by getting in charge and in control of the fear and letting it go. Because it's founded on lies. Why would we be afraid if we realized that we are God, that we are all powerful, that we are all knowing, that we are all seeing, and that we create our own reality? If we realize that we create our own reality, and we do it by our vibration, and if we get a reality that we don't like, all we need to do is to change our vibration, then what is there to be afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of when you realize you are the God that is the center of your universe. So let the fear go so that you are not creating through fear and you're not infecting others with fear. Because that can happen when we're in a state of fear.
I guess ethnic cleansing isn't the term. I think that's too strong a term for what you were looking for, right?
Yeah.
Or colonization?
Yeah, maybe. But it's not exactly the word either. But I think ethnic cleansing and colonization all have that kind of overall effect, don't they? All of those things have the effect that I was talking about.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the word as well. Anyway, on to more questions. That was from Susan, right? Lorraine says, which chakra does the fear energy enter? Does all energy enter through the crown and then follow to the appropriate chakra?
Energy can enter anywhere, any atom, any molecule, any cell, any part of your energy system. So, but when we say, where does the fear enter? Let's ask the question a different way. Let's ask it two ways. So let's say the other lady that was just talking, Susan, goes into a state of fear. And she shares that vibration with you. That's case number one. Or let's say case number two is I don't know, there's a saber-toothed tiger or a mean boss. So it's easy to see in case number two, you go into fear. You create the fear within your own system, right? Because I'm faced with what I perceive to be a danger and I am afraid. So you're creating the fear And you can create the fear. So you're creating a vibration in your system. So instead of being in a state of love and openness and open with your energy field, everything closes down and changes in the way that I just outlined. Now let's say you're in a room with Susan and she's afraid and she spreads her energy out into the room. So you're in an energy bath of fear. You actually have a choice in that situation to match the fear by resonating with that vibration and creating it within your own space, and therefore joining her in magnifying the fear, or not matching it, rising your energy above it. So in all of these cases, you are responsible for the energy in your system and you are creating it. You are not the victim of it entering into you from somewhere else. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I don't want to dwell on this, but ethnic cleansing, de facto genocide, and the other word that I came up with was atrocities against the Native people. But let's leave it at that. I know there's a specific word, but okay. Katie says tooth unlocking. Brian put a note here. He says, colonialism is defined as control by one power over dependent area people. It occurs when one nation subjugates another, conquering its population and exploiting it, often while forcing its own language and cultural values upon its people.
Yes, subjugates and colonizing and controlling and imposing, all of those things. Thank you.
All the mean stuff.
Yeah. And that's right. And it's all third chakra-y. Sort of. Out of alignment, third chakra-y.
Alignment, third chakra. Hey, it's, a whole bunch of stuff came to my mind when we started talking about this. I never, it was a really good question that Brian asked, because I never thought about, individuals is one thing, or, in a family, but I never thought about larger groups and things like that as doing exactly that. I mean, one of the things that first thing that came to my mind was the concentration camps during World War II.
Yeah.
That was like, when you look at the millions of people that were affected by it, in essence, one man's desires to do it, right? He and the power, and we talked about that the other one of the last shows, how one person can mesmerize and use that to
yeah, that's a show where we talk about the crown chakra and transmediumship. But and again, we're singling out these chakras, but they're not really singled out, are they? They're all operating as a whole. But the example of concentration camps is really, really interesting, because the Jewish people in the concentration camps, there are stories of them holding their own connection with God, of them realizing, you can take everything away from me, but you cannot take my thoughts, my belief, my love of God, and so humans are not always subjugated into fear, or even if they are, well, let me not say it that way. I guess you see what I'm saying, that were you using that as an example? I'm sure that they were afraid, but I also think that there's a message of hope within some of the stories that I've heard of people in those kinds of situations.
Dennis says disenfranchisement.
Another good word.
Yeah. Lots of good words coming up here. This is phenomenal. I have a question here. Look for it. Where I just lost it. So when you're talking about the chakra system, you're talking about the chakras being affected as a system. Like you can't look at them you can look at them individually, but not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily benefit you to do that when you're looking at an issue. So when you're balanced, yes and no.
Yeah.
I mean, they work as a system together. So when you're balancing or cleansing, can you cleanse the whole? Can you cleanse the whole system, or do you have to go through each individual chakra?
Yes. So you can balance it all in an instant, and you can balance it all as one thing, or you can go through each of the chakras and spend the time to do it. And that's normally what we do, because we are humans embedded in time and space, and that's how we operate. But yeah, you can either.
Okay. Well, that's almost taken us to the end of the show, Dr. Leslie. Any words of wisdom?
Well, it's funny. I was talking to somebody today, and it was somebody who wanted to communicate with their higher self. And we were meditating and working on, opening a channel of communication. And I can't remember what I asked her, but it was something like, what do you know? And she said, I know nothing. And I said, well, there's a very wise woman. Because it's that saying, isn't it, that if you meet somebody who tells you they know everything, go in the other direction, because the wisest person on earth is the one who says, I know nothing. And yet I know what I need to know when I need to know it.
The three most dangerous words, I know that. Because once you say that, you close your...
Yeah, you're not open to evolving beyond what you think you know and what you're believing.
Yeah.
Because all beliefs are thoughts you keep on thinking, and they are just energy configurations. Most beliefs, like 99.9999% of beliefs, are just an energy construct, just a framework that you are constructing to experience reality through. Yeah. And all beliefs crumble eventually and are replaced by other ones.
Yeah. Brian says, everything you know is wrong. Don't believe anything you think. Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything you say to yourself. Anyway, folks, that's it for tonight. That was a great show, Dr. Leslie. Thank you very much. If you're enjoying the show, just give us a like, and thank you very much. Give us a couple thumbs up. It always helps. And we shall see you on the 24th of October, which is a ways away.
See you then, folks.
See
We
you
might post some of our third Thursday chats or something. So
Yes, I'll do that.
yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye everyone.